The stars stretch across the black, void like scattered diamonds on dark velvet in the heart of the galactic. Conquered the Grand Council chamber, hummed with quiet fear. Tall beings from many worlds sat around a wide circle. Table made of shining crystal, lights from above cast soft glows on there. Different skins, scales, and feathers. Elder Zoreth stood at the center. He was tall with long silver feathers that covered his body like a cloak. His sharp eyes moved from one council member to another. His voice was calm, but everyone could hear the worry in it. The Vexari have taken 3 more systems this cycle, he said. Their swarms grow larger every day. Our fleets fight hard, but we lose ships faster than we can build them. A low murmur ran through the room. The council members knew the truth. The Vexari Dominion was not just an enemy, it was a storm of claws, acid, and endless numbers. Their ships looked like giant black beetles with glowing red eyes. Inside, millions of insect warriors moved as one mind. No fear, no doubt, only the command to consume. Counselor LRA, a slender being with blue crystal skin from the planet Thaler, leaned forward. Her voice sounded like gentle bells. Our best admirals are gone. The outer colonies burn. If we do not find new strength soon, the conquered will fall within 2 cycles. More voices joined in. Some spoke of retreat, others talked about hidden weapons that might not work. A few even suggested peace talks with the Vexari Queen Regent, though everyone knew the Vexari did not understand peace. Then a small voice came from the back of the chamber. It belonged to Kale, a young analyst from the tiny Moonwa world of Nexus. He had soft gray fur and large round eyes that always looked surprised. Most council members ignored junior staff like him, but today desperation made them listen. "Excuse me," Kale said, his voice shaking a little. "An old story in the deep archives, something from before the conquered formed." Zoreth turned his feathered head. "Speak, young one." Kale swallowed. "The archives hold fragments from lost civilizations. One file mentions a race called humans. They lived on a small blue world far from the main trade lanes. The record says they were strange. They fought wars with no clear reason. Sometimes they built machines from broken parts. They refused to die even when all hope was gone." A few council members made soft, laughing sounds. A scaled warrior from the Draken world snorted. "Humans, those are children's tales. My grandmother told me stories of humans to make me behave. Eat your food or the humans will come and fight you for it. They vanished long ago, if they ever existed." Another voice joined in, this one from a tall, multi-armed being named Vaughn. "The myth says they destroyed themselves in a great fire, or maybe they ran from something bigger. Either way, no probe has found their world in 1,000 cycles. They are dust." Kale lowered his head, but he did not stop. "The file is old and damaged, but one part remains clear. It says the humans were dangerous because they did not think like us. They changed plans in the middle of battle. They laughed when they should have run. The last words in the record are strange. Do not wake them. The galaxy is safer when humans sleep." The chamber grew quiet. The laughter died away. Zoreth looked at the small analyst for a long time. "Why bring this up now?" Zoreth asked. "Because we have nothing left," Kale said. "Simply, every strategy fails. Every alliance cracks. If there is even a small chance that the old myth holds truth, should we not look?" Silence filled the room again, the council. Members glanced at each other, some faces showed doubt, others showed a tiny spark of hope. Zorath closed his eyes. For a moment, when he opened them, his voice was firm. Search the deep archives, all levels, find anything about these humans. Coordinates, signals, ruins, anything. Teams of archivists went to work. They dug through layers of forgotten data, crystals, broken probes, and half erased logs. Days passed, most found nothing. Then on the fifth day, a signal came from a forgotten relay station, drifting near the edge of a dark nebula, an ancient probe, older than most living beings in the Concord, woke up. Its power core flickered to love after centuries of sleep. It sent 1 week message. Coordinates, a single star system, a small yellow sun, third planet from the sun, blue oceans, green lands, white clouds hidden behind thick clouds of gas and dust that blocked most scans. The probe's last words repeated 3 times before it went dark again. Earth, home of the humans. The council stared at the holographic map. The system looked ordinary. No massive fleets, no giant stations, just one quiet world. Counselor LRA spoke first. It could be a trick or a dead end, or it could be our last hope. Zorath replied. He turned to the fleet commander on duty. Prepare a diplomatic ship, small, fast, no weapons. Display. We go to see if the myth still breathes. The ship chosen was the Lightwing. It was sleek and silver, built for long journeys through empty space. Its crew was small, only 12 beings from different worlds. They carried gifts, not guns. They carried questions, not demands. As the Lightwing jumped into hyperspace, Elder Zora stood on the bridge. He looked at the swirling colors outside the viewscreen. If the humans are gone, he said quietly to himself, we will know soon if they are not. But in his mind, an old children's story echoed, the one that ended with a warning: do not wake the sleeping giant, because when it opens its eyes, the stars themselves tremble. The Lightwing flew on toward a quiet blue world, toward a name no one had spoken in ages. Toward Earth the L-Wing dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Sol system. The crew stared in silence at the view screens. There against the black floated a small yellow sun. Around it spun 8 planets, but only one caught their full attention. The third planet from the sun glowed blue and green under a thin veil of white. Clouds, rings of metal and lights circled it. Huge stations, shipyards, habitats shaped like wheels. Ships moved in orderly lines, some small and fast, others large and heavy with cargo. No chaos, no panic, just calm, constant motion. Captain Aller Voss, a calm Avari, like Elder Zorath but younger with shorter golden feathers, spoke first. Scans show life signs in the billions. Energy output matches a Type 2 civilization. Fusion power, antimatter traces, gravity drives. They are not primitive. The bridge crew exchanged looks. The myth was supposed to be extinct, or at least backward. This looked like a thriving world that had never heard of the Vexari. A signal came in, clear, strong, and perfect. Galactic standard, the common trade language. This is United Earth Command, Orbital Station Unity 1. You have entered Sol-controlled space. Please state your identity, purpose, and point of origin. Welcome to Earth. The voice was human. Deep, steady, polite. No fear, no surprise. Ara stepped forward. This is the diplomatic vessel, Lightwing of the Galactic Concord. We come in peace. We Seek audience with your leaders, we. Bring urgent matters concerning the survival of many worlds. A short pause. Then the voice answered, understood. Lightwing, you are cleared for approach. Dock at Base 71, a reception team will meet you. Please keep weapons powered. Down, the aliens on the bridge felt a strange mix of relief and unease. These humans spoke as if visitors from the stars arrived every day. The Lightwing glided toward the giant station. Unity 1 was a marvel, 5 kilometers across, with arms that spun slowly to create gravity. Lights blinked in patterns. Ships of every size came and went. Some looked old and patched, others shiny and new. All moved with purpose. When the ship docked, a wide airlock opened. A group of humans waited. Inside, they wore simple gray uniforms, with small flags on the shoulders, blue, with stars and stripes. No armor, no visible weapons, just calm faces. The leader stepped forward. He was tall, with short dark hair turning gray at the sides. His eyes were steady blue. Small smile touched his mouth. Captain Allor Voss, I presume, he said. I'm Captain John Hayes, United Earth Command. Welcome to Earth. Alla dipped her head in the Avari. Greeting, thank you for receiving us so quickly. John gestured toward the corridor. Come, we have a conference room ready. My team is waiting. They walked through wide halls. The station smelled clean, like fresh air and metal. Humans passed by, men and women of different skin colors, some chatting, some carrying tools. A few looked at the aliens with curiosity, but none stared. Children ran past in school groups, laughing. In the conference room, a long table waited. Screens showed live views of Earth below, cities at night glowing like rivers of light, oceans sparkling under the sun, forests green and thick. John sat at one end. Beside him were two others, a woman with short black hair and sharp eyes, Lieutenant Lisa Ramirez. Tactical officer, a man with glasses and a calm face, Chief Engineer William Brooks. Ara and her small team sat opposite. Navari aide projected a hologram of the warfront. Red dots showed Vixari advances, blue dots showed conquered losses. John looked at the map for a long time. No one spoke. Finally he leaned back. You've come a long way to ask for help. Ara nodded. The Vixari Dominion has taken more than half our outer territories. Their numbers are endless. Their hive mind makes them fast and ruthless. We have tried every tactic. Nothing stops them for long. Lisa Ramirez spoke. Her voice was clear and direct. How long have you known about us? John met her eyes. We've known about the wider galaxy for over 200 years. We built telescopes that could see far. We sent quiet probes. We watched early wars. We saw species rise and fall. We decided to stay hidden. William Brooks added. The nebula around our system helps. It blocks most scans. We made sure the rest looked boring. No big signals, no loud broadcasts. We grew in silence. All's feathers ruffled slightly. You chose isolation while the galaxy burned. John's smile was small. We chose time to build, time to learn, time to make sure that if we ever stepped out, we would not be another victim. He stood and walked to a Psyduck screen. With a touch, it changed to show Earth's defenses, hidden shipyards on the moon, orbital cannons disguised as habitats, fleets drilling in the outer system, thousands of ships not flashy, but solid, ready. The Vixari are coming for everyone eventually. John said, we know that. We've prepared for it, but we Don't rush into wars that aren't ours. Unless asked, all felt hope rise in her chest. Will you help us? John looked at Lisa and William. They nodded once. We will start small, John said. We will send one battle group, 6 ships our best. We will share some technology, shields, weapons, tactics. We will fight beside you and see what happens. He paused, but understand this, humans do not fight like you do. We improvise, we take risks, we do not break easily. If the Vixari want to test that, they will learn why old stories warned against us. Ara stood, we accept any help. Concord will be grateful. John extended his hand, the human gesture of trust. Ara took it carefully with her feathered claw. The touch was warm. As the aliens prepared to leave, John spoke quietly to his team. They think we're a lost legend come back to save them, he said. Lisa smiled. Let them keep thinking that for now. William chuckled. Wait till they see how legends actually fight. John looked out the window at Earth below. The blue world turned slowly, peaceful and strong. Send word to Admiral Daniel Foster, he said. Tell him the myth is needed. Tell him to bring the Endurance and her group. He turned back to the aliens. We will meet again soon on the battlefield. The Lightwing undocked and jumped away. On the bridge of Unity 1, John Hayes watched the small silver ship disappear into the stars. Lisa stood beside him. You think they're ready for us? John shook his head. No, but they will be. He smiled. A real one this time, because humanity was once a myth. Now the war gets real. Below them, Earth continued to turn, quiet, patient, waiting. The galaxy had forgotten what humans could do. The jump to the warfront was smooth and silent. The human battle group emerged from hyperspace in a flash of blue light. 6 ships hanging in formation like quiet predators. At the center floated the flagship Endurance, long and gray, with no bright colors or fancy designs, just solid hull plates, sensor arrays, and rows of launch tubes that looked ordinary until they opened. Admiral Daniel Foster stood on the bridge. He was a man in his late 50s, with short silver hair and a face line from years of command. His uniform was plain, the same gray as everyone else's. He watched the tactical display without blinking. Around them stretched the shattered remains of a conquered defense line. Broken alien ships drifted in pieces. Vixari hive cruisers, black, jagged things like giant wasps, swarmed over what was left of a mining colony. Their red eyes glowed as they spat acid beams and launched boarding pods. A conquered liaison ship, the Dawn Runner, hailed them immediately. Captain Aller Voss appeared on the main screen, her feathers ruffled. Stress, Admiral Foster, she said. Thank the stars you are here. The Vixari have overrun the outer perimeter. Our remaining forces are pulling back to the inner system. We have less than 2 hours before they reach the main habitat. Rings, Daniel nodded once. We see it. Status of your fleet, 30% operational. Most ships are damaged. The Vixari adapt too fast. Every plan we make they counter within minutes. Lieutenant Lisa Ramirez, now aboard the Endurance as liaison from Earth Command, stepped forward. That's because you fight predictable. They read patterns. We don't give them patterns. All looked confused. What do you mean? Watch. He turned to the gunnery station. Gunnery Officer Laura Mitchell, you have the first shot. Kinetic package low velocity. Target the lead hive cruisers. Vententral cluster. Laura, a young woman with tied back brown hair and steady Hands tapped her controls. Package. Away, impact in 30 seconds. No bright lasers, no dramatic explosion. Just a series of small rods, each the size of a tree trunk, dropped from orbit like stones from a high cliff. They fell slowly at first, then accelerated with gravity. The Vexari sensors barely registered them until it was too late. The rods punched through the hive cruiser's outer shell like needles, through cloth, one after another. Silent clean, the ship shuddered, then split along its length, a cloud of green fluid and broken kittens spilled into space. The red eyes dimmed. The bridge crew on Dawn Runner went quiet. All's voice came through softly. That was one ship. We lost entire squadrons trying to do the same. Daniel said, one at a time is how we start. More Vexari ships turned toward the human group. Their hive mind noticed the new players. Swarms of smaller attack craft poured out like angry bees. Launch fighters. Daniel ordered. Squadrons of sleek human fighters called Hornets shot from the carrier decks. They moved in ways no alien pilot could copy. One moment straight and level, the next twisting at impossible angles. They used the wreckage for cover, slingshotting around debris to get behind enemy lines. Pilot Stephen Carter led Blue Squadron. He was young, barely 25, with a quick grin and faster reflexes. Blue leader to group. Let's dance. His Hornet rolled inverted. Dodging acid streams, he fired short bursts from rail guns, small, precise hits that cracked open Vexari fighter pods behind him as wingmates followed in loose, changing formation, just chaos. The Vexari could not predict. On the ground of the mining colony below, things were worse. Vexari landing pods had cracked open. Thousands of insect warriors, tall, armored with blade arms and acid spit, charged across the rocky surface. Conquered troops, a mix of scaled Drayon and crystalline Thaler, held a narrow pass. They were losing. A new signal cut through the static. Major Megan Hayes, John Hayes' younger sister, led the first human ground team. She wore light combat armor, carried a rifle that looked simple but fired smart rounds. Her voice came over the open channel. This is Echo Company dropping now. Hold the line if you can. We're coming in hot. Drop pods slammed into the dirt. Human Marines poured out. They did not form meet ranks. Instead, they scattered, found cover and started shooting. When ammo ran low, they picked up fallen alien weapons and used them. When those jammed, they fought hand to hand. Megan moved like she was born for it. She slid behind a rock, popped up and dropped 3 Vexari with headshot. Push left. Flank, use the boulders for ricochet. Drayon soldier stared as a human Marine wrestled a Vexari warrior to the ground. Snapped its neck, then kept moving. No fear, no hesitation. Above the space battle grew fiercer. The Vexari focused on the Endurance. 3 hive cruisers closed in, spitting beams that scorched the shields. Shields at 70%, William Brooks reported. From engineering, holding. Daniel watched the display. Evasive pattern. Delta, bring us through the debris field. The Endurance turned sharply. It flew straight into the floating wreckage of destroyed ships. The Vexari hesitated. Their hive mind did not like unpredictable paths. The human ship twisted between giant hull fragments, using them as shields, this time guided missiles that split into smaller bomblets. They spread out, then curved back in from different angles. The hive Cruisers tried to track them all in. Failed, explosions bloomed across their hulls. One cruiser broke apart. Others pulled back, aboard the Dawn. Runner Elara whispered to her first officer. They move like they do not care about dying, the officer answered, or like they know they will not. Word spread fast through the conquered remnants. The humans are here. The myth fights, they do not stop. On the colony surface, Megan's team reached the pass. Vixari poured through like a black tide. She stood at the front, rifle barking. Grenades out, fall back. 10M explosions rocked the ground. Dust rose when it cleared. Human Marines had set up overlapping fields of fire. The Vixari slowed, confused by the sudden change in resistance. They dove into the atmosphere, strafing the landing pods. Bombs fell in neat patterns, turning swarms into craters. The Vixari Queen, regent far away on her throne world, felt the first ripple of doubt through the Hivalink. These new enemies did not follow rules. They laughed in battle. Chatter, they adapted faster than the swarm could learn. Daniel leaned forward on his command chair. All ships press the advantage. No mercy, no pause. The human battle group moved forward as one, not in a straight line but in shifting waves. Fighters danced, ships twisted, ground forces pushed. The conquered survivors watched in awe. Ships that had fled now turned back. Alien crews cheered over open channels. Laura smiled at her station. Told you, sir, they weren't ready for us. He just watched the red dots on the map start to fade. This is only the beginning, he said. Quietly, the myth was awake, and it was angry. The war had a new commander, not by title, by action. Humanity had arrived, and the galaxy would never be the same. The Vixari Queen regent felt the change deep in her shared mind. It was not pain yet, not fear, just a small crack in the perfect order. The new enemy, the humans, did not die as expected. They did not run. They twisted. They laughed over open channels. Their ships danced through traps that should have crushed them. For the first time in centuries, the Hive felt something close to confusion. She sat in her vast chamber on the core world of Vexar Prime, walls of black resin pulsed with red light. Thousands of lesser drones moved around her in silent service. Her many eyes stared at the glowing web of battle reports. The human battle group had grown from 6 ships to 12. More came every day. Quiet jumps from hidden paths no one had mapped. She sent the command through the lake. All forces converge, crush the new ones. Take their flagship, bring me their minds so I may taste their fear. The response came instantly. Swarms turned, fleets changed course. A massive armada formed, over 200 Hive cruisers, thousands of smaller attack craft, millions of warriors ready to drop. They aimed straight for the human fleet, the contested colony world called Haven. 4. On the bridge of the Endurance, Admiral Daniel Foster watched the tactical map fill with red. The enemy numbers were 10 times greater. His own forces, human ships plus the battered conquered remnants, looked small in comparison. Shields at full, William Brooks reported. Engines hot, we can run if needed. Daniel shook his head. We do not run today. Laura Mitchell at gunnery looked up. Incoming in 40 minutes. Their formation is tight. Standard swarm envelopment. Lisa Ramirez studied the display. They want to surround us, pin us down, overwhelm. Daniel nodded. Then we give them something else. He opened a channel to the fleet. All captains, this is Foster Pattern Omega. Use the asteroid belt behind us. Slingshot if you have to. Ground teams dig in. We hold Haven 4 until the last second. Megan Hayes heard the order from her forward command post on the surface. She stood in a trench carved into red rock. Around her, human marines and alien allies worked side by side. Dream soldiers sharpened blades. Fowler medics prepared healing fields. Everyone looked tired, but no one looked broken. Megan keyed her comm. This is Major Hayes. We copy. Chokepoint Charlie is ours. We will not let them pass. She turned to her platoon sergeant, a tough man named Chris Wind. He was not big, but his eyes were sharp and his hands moved fast on a portable hacking rig. Chris, you ready for the trick? He grinned. Born ready. Major. Above the battle began. Vixari came in a black wave. Their hive cruisers formed a crescent shape, closing like jaws. Smaller craft filled the gaps. Acid beams lit the void green. The human ships did not meet them head-on. The Endurance turned first. It accelerated toward the dense asteroid belt, a field of rocks the size of cities tumbling slowly. The other ships followed in loose groups. They weaved between the giant stones, using them for cover. A Vixari cruiser fired a heavy beam. It missed the Endurance by meters and struck an asteroid instead. The rock exploded into a cloud of sharp fragments. The human ship used the blast wave to swing around faster. Stephen Carter, still in his Hornet, led his squadron through the chaos. Blue squadron, stay close. Use the rocks like walls. Hit and run. His fighter rolled between two asteroids, came out behind a Vixari attack group and fired. Rail gun rounds punched through weak spots. Enemy pods burst apart. Stephen whooped over the comm. That's one for the tally. Their rigid formations struggled in the tumbling field. Ships clipped rocks. Others slowed to avoid collisions. Humans moved like water, always finding a path. On the flagship bridge, Daniel watched calmly. Laura, target there. Command nodes, the ones with the extra antenna. Hit those and the swarm slows. Laura's fingers flew, firing kinetic. Lances spread pattern, long thin. Spears launched from the Endurance. They curved through space, guided by tiny thrusters. One after another they struck the command cruisers. Antenna snapped. Red lights flickered. The swarm hesitated. Orders arrived late or not at all. The Queen Regent felt the break. Anger surged through the link. She pushed more power to the front. Fresh swarms arrived, but the humans were ready. Down on Haven 4, the ground battle reached its peak. Vixari warriors poured through the mountain pass. Their claws scraped stone. Acid dripped from mandibles. The defenders fired from cover. Rifles, rail guns, even captured Vixari weapons turned against them. Megan stood at the top of the ridge. Hold grenades on my mark, she counted in her head. When the front wave reached the narrowest point, she shouted, now. Explosions ripped along the pass. Rocks fell from above, crushing dozens of warriors. The advance slowed. Chris Noon worked fast beside her, his rig connected to captured Vixari relay pod. Almost in. Their encryption is strange, but it's pattern-based. I can flood it. Do it, Megan said. Chris hit the key. False signals poured into the hive lake. Orders to advance mixed with orders to retreat. Swarms turned on each other. Warriors froze. Others attacked their own. The Queen Regent screamed in her chamber. The sound echoed through Every mind in the Dominion. Pain, rage, confusion. In space the tide turned. The human ships broke out of the asteroid field in small groups. They hit the Vixari flanks from unexpected angles. Fighters slipped through gaps. Capital ships fired full broadsides into weakened hulls. One Hive cruiser after another cracked open. Green fluids spilled like blood. The swarm formation broke apart. The Queen Regent's flagship, a massive sphere covered in spines, moved forward. It was the heart of the Armada. If it fell, the link would weaken. Daniel saw it. All ships focus fire on the big one. Laura, give me everything. The Endurance and her sisters turned as one. Missiles, guns, kinetic rods, beams from shared conquered tech, upgraded by human engineers. The barrage hit like a storm. Shields on the Queen Regent's ship glowed white, then cracked. Holes appeared. Fires burned inside. Stevens' squadron dove straight at it. Blue leader to all. One last run for Earth. They flew through the fire. Bombs dropped. Explosions bloomed along the spines. A final rail gun shot from the Endurance punched through the core. The flagship shuddered, then it broke in half. Red light died. The Hivelink snapped. Across the battlefield, Vixari froze. Warriors stopped moving. Ships drifted. The swarm mind shattered into a million confused pieces. Megan looked up from the trench as the sky lit with distant explosions. It's over, she whispered. Chris smiled. Not over, just starting to win. Daniel stood on his bridge. Red dots on the map faded fast. Cheers came over every channel. Human Avari. Dreen Thaler. He opened a fleet-wide broadcast. This is Admiral Foster. The enemy flagship is destroyed. The swarm is breaking. We hold the line. We hold the war. He paused. They came to crush us. They found out why the old stories warned against waking humanity. Quiet fell on the bridge. Then Laura spoke softly. The galaxy is watching. Daniel looked out at the stars. Let them watch. The turning point had come, not with a single hero, not with a miracle weapon, but with stubborn will, clever minds, and the simple truth that humans do not quit. The Vixari ran. The myth became legend again. This time no one laughed. The stars looked different now, not brighter, not darker, just watched. The Vixari Armada, once a black tide that swallowed worlds, scattered like broken glass. Ships drifted without direction. Warriors on the ground stood frozen. Blades lowered, mandibles clicking. Confusion. The hive mind had cracked open. For the first time the Queen Regent felt alone inside her own head. On Vexar Prime, deep in the resin palace, she thrashed. Her long spines scraped walls. Lesser drones backed away. In fear, she sent one final command. Through the fading link, fight, destroy. Do not stop. But the command arrived weak. Many never received it. Others ignored it. The Dominion began to unravel. In the Sol system, far from the fighting, Captain John Hayes stood on the bridge of Unity. He watched the live feed from the front. Reports came in fast. Victory after victory, small at first, then bigger. The human battle group had not stopped. They pushed. They adapted. They won. John turned to Lisa Ramirez. She stood beside him, arms crossed, eyes on the same screen. They did it, she said. Quietly, John nodded. They are doing it. A new message arrived from Admiral Daniel Foster. Text only, short. Enemy core worlds exposed. Request permission to finish. Full command of joint forces. Our way. John smiled for the first time. In days, he typed back one word. Granted, then he opened a channel to the Galactic Concord Council. Elder Zorath appeared on the screen, his silver feathers looked duller now, worn by worry and hope. Captain Hayes Zorath said, "The reports, they are true." "True," John answered. "The Vexari are breaking. We can end this war, but we need to do it our way." Zorath hesitated. "What does that mean?" "It means humanity takes temporary command of the joint fleets, not forever, just until the job is done. Your ships are plans. Our lead, the council chamber behind." Zorath filled with murmurs. Some nodded, others looked unsure. Zorath raised a feathered hand for silence. "You ask much," he said. "We do not ask." John replied, "We offer, you can refuse. But if you do, the Vexari may regroup. They may heal, the war could last another century." Zorath looked down, then up again. His voice was soft but clear. "We accept. Humanity has command." John dipped his head. "Thank you, we will not waste it." The message went out to every ship in the Concord and human fleets. "This is Admiral Daniel Foster. Effective now, joint operations fall under Earth command. All vessels acknowledge and form on designated vectors. We move to the enemy core." Cheers rose on human bridges. Alien crews looked at each other in quiet surprise, then they obeyed. The push began. Human fleets jumped first, not in neat lines, in waves, small groups appearing from different angles. They hit supply worlds, relay stations, breeding hives. Each strike was fast, precise, gone before the enemy could respond. On one core world called Clixar, Megan Hayes led the ground assault. Her Marines dropped from orbit. In armored pods, they hit the surface. Running, Vexari warriors poured from tunnels, but this time the humans knew the patterns. Megan shouted orders over the wind and dust. Flank teams left and right. Chris jammed their signals again. Chris Noon knelt behind a rock, fingers flying on his rig. False orders flooded the local hive link. Warriors turned on each other. Some dropped weapons, others ran. Megan advanced with her squad. They cleared tunnels room by room. When a Vexari charged, she met it with a knife and a calm shot to the head. No panic, no waste. By nightfall, the main hive complex burned. Human engineers set charges that collapsed the breeding chambers. No more warriors would hatch there. In space, Stephen Carter flew cover. His Hornet squadron danced around larger ships. They drew fire away from troop transports. When Vexari fighters came, Stephen twisted through debris and struck from blind spots. Blue leader copies, target down, keep pushing. The Queen Regent watched it all through dying eyes. Her link grew thinner. Her children died by the billions. She sent one last desperate fleet, her personal guard, the strongest ship she had left. They met the Endurance and her sisters at the edge of Vexar Prime System. Daniel stood on his bridge. The enemy came in a solid wall. No tricks this time, just raw power, full spread. He ordered, "Everything we have." The human fleet opened fire. Kinetic rods, missiles, rail guns, upgraded alien beams. The void lit up white and green. The Vexari wall cracked. Ships exploded. One after another, the guard fleet pushed forward anyway. They had no choice. The Queen Regent drove them. Laura Mitchell at gunnery never stopped reloading, firing again. William Brooks kept the engine screaming. Shields holding barely. The two flagships closed the Queen Regent sphere against The endurance, acid beams rad the human. Hull, armor melted, but the endurance did not slow. Daniel gave the final order. Boarding teams go. Human Marines launched in small craft. They attached to the enemy sphere, cut through, fought. Inside, Megan led one team. She moved through dark corridors lit by red pulses. Vexari drones attacked from every shadow. Her squad fought back with rifles, grenades, bare hands. They reached the central chamber. The Queen Regent waited, huge, terrifying spines dripping venom, eyes burning. Megan stepped forward. It ends here. The Queen Regent lunged. Megan rolled aside, fired. The shot hit an eye. The Queen screamed. Megan kept moving. Her team flanked. Bullets tore into weak joints. Explosives planted on the throne. The Queen Regent fell, not dead yet, but broken. Megan looked at her. You thought we were a story. You were wrong. She triggered the charges. The sphere shook, then broke apart in a silent flash. Link died completely across the galaxy. Vexari stopped. Warriors dropped. Ships powered down. The Dominion ended. Days later, the conquered council met again. This time on Unity 1, Elder Zorath stood before John Hayes, Daniel Foster, Megan Hayes, and the others. The war is over. Zorath said, thanks to you. Daniel shook his head. Thanks to everyone who fought. We just led. Zorath bowed low. Humanity was once a myth. Now you are our saviors. John spoke quietly. We are not saviors. We are neighbors. We helped because it was right. We will stay to rebuild. Then we go home. Titles. Daniel refused politely. We do not want command forever, he said. We want peace. The galaxy listened. Worlds cheered. Refugees returned home. Stars felt safer. On Earth, John Hayes stood on a balcony overlooking the Pacific. Lisa stood beside him. They thought we were gone, she said. John looked at the blue ocean. We were just waiting. Below, children played. Cities glowed. Ships flew in quiet patterns. The myth had woken. It had fought. It had won. And now it rested. But the galaxy knew one truth forever. When the story spoke of humans again, no one laughed. They listened because humanity had taken command of the war, and the stars remembered.